Hello, everyone. Welcome to AI marketing. New subject today, healthcare. And you know, AI is just going to change healthcare as we know it. I'm really counting on it, and I'm counting on our guests to explain how we're going to reverse aging in less than 6 months from now.
Mhm.
But seriously, folks, AI is going to play a big role in healthcare. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about tech-enabled healthcare experiences. Hopefully, it's better for the patient. But without giving too much away, before we get started, I want to introduce you to Mariano Garcia-Valiño. And I know my Spanish accent isn't great, but Mariano, welcome to the show. And if you'll give us a brief background on yourself.
Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for having me here today. Your Spanish sounds great, actually. I'm an engineer by training. Been working in healthcare for my whole life. I've initiated and sold already 3 companies in healthcare, and I'm now building my fourth. And I think that what you say is right. Healthcare is gonna grab us pretty much everywhere we go. Healthcare is definitely probably the one of the biggest areas in business that has not yet been touched by software. And you probably remember, everyone remembers the Mark Andreessen's phrase of software is eating the world. And
Mhm.
I think that's incredibly has not been true for healthcare so much. That's why my book is called Inedible. And what I think is this is going to happen very soon. So some of the reasons that healthcare has been inedible for so long was really the amount of data that you have to crunch in order to make a difference in patients. And now we do have tools that can do that. So I think we're already seeing changes here, and we're going to see a lot more.
Well, I have not uh, seen a better technology for healthcare ever. I'll give you an example, and this is for a pet. So, a very good friend of mine whose dog was injured, was limping, went and got X-rays and a bunch of other medical tests that were performed before the X-ray technician or whoever's in charge of interpreting these X-rays was able to get back to her. We had already uploaded all that information, in ChatGPT, acting as a doctor in research mode, had already identified exactly the problem that the technician had come up with. And I'm looking at this X-ray, I'm like, I don't see anything. But it was able to identify the issue and future issues that this dog would have
Yeah.
as a result of the skeletal structure that he has. To me, and I know this is just the tip of the iceberg, that was pretty remarkable. I can't imagine what else is going to happen with AI in healthcare. But why don't we talk about some of the advances that you're seeing and some of the things that you're doing, and I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Well, I think your example is just spot on. I think that one of the things that we have seen in healthcare over the past century or so is we have been able to conquer all all or not many acute diseases. So if you look at the beginning of last century, people were more than half of them dying of an infectious disease. That doesn't happen anymore unless it's a secondary infection to cancer or things like that. People very rarely die for infections today, and we have gained some 30 years between the beginning of the century and the end of the century, and that has brought other problems with them, and particularly chronic diseases. And chronic diseases now represent something like 85% of the total cost of disease in the world. And the interesting thing is we have not changed much of our healthcare system, but the problem is completely different. So when you think about an infection, you normally have a very good alarm system in your body that actually tells you, that something is wrong and that you have to go somewhere and see a doctor. You have temperature, or you have pain, or you have swallowing parts, or so very clear examples that you have a disease. When you compare that to diabetes or high blood pressure, I mean, you can suffer the condition for sometimes decades without having any visible symptoms that will take you to doctor. And we have had the technology to actually monitor patients remotely for a while, maybe 10 years. But I think what we have lacked is our ability to actually read all that data into, and make some meaning out of it, and try to understand where that data is taking the patients in the next few months. So that's probably something close to 2/3 of the cost of chronic diseases today. So the fact that you're not getting them on time. If we were able to monitor patients remotely, which we can in many ways, and we are able to feed that into AI models, which we are starting to build. We can probably take people to the doctor more frequently, but at lower cost than earlier, and that should actually lower the cost down and keep people in better health. And when you think about it, that might be the only way that we actually can afford maintaining healthcare for a large portion of the population. So when you think about the cost today of healthcare is increasing at 2.5
Crazy.
times. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 2.5 times the speed of inflation. So it's obviously not going to be sustainable very shortly. In some countries, it's already happening. So unless we manage to curb it down, we will have an incredible amount of problems.
Yeah. And is that because of the baby boomer population and that generation, and there's just so many of them versus all the taxpayers at the bottom of the rung, or is it something else?
That can be a factor probably in the US. It's not necessarily the same around the world, but I don't think so. I think mostly it's the fact that that people are living longer, and if you live longer, you are
I
going to
see.
have some chronic disease, and sooner or later
Yeah.
your pancreas is going to malfunction, or other parts of your body are going to malfunction. So before, when people were dying at 70, you didn't have much of those problems. Now, most
Right.
people are at 90, and they will have developed those diseases. And those diseases are very difficult and very different to treat.
Yeah. So are you more on the healthcare side, or you get into kind of the AI powered research in terms of aging and disease and cancer and all of that? Where's your sweet spot, or is it all of it?
So, so what we do is trying to help people navigate the system in a way that they predict diseases better, and they are
Okay.
treated before. So what we do is we monitor patients remotely, and
And how do you do
we
that? Because I got to break
so
this
it,
down, because if I don't know, then the
sure.
audience won't know. How do you
So
do
it's a
monitor them remotely?
so it's a bunch of different data that we collect from different sources. There's no one thing that will give it to you all. We do use wearables as everyone, but we also get data from insurance, and we get data from nurses that actually call patients up. We get data from questionnaires that we send via WhatsApp or via other media. We have tools like we have a face scan tool, for example, that you look into the camera for 30 seconds and will give you around 32 different biomarkers. We
Hmm.
have some biomarkers in blood that we dose it for some people. This a little bit too expensive for large populations today, but we do it for monitor population, for some smaller portions of population. So we grab data from 42 or 43 different sources, and we put that all together in a way that it's interoperable, which is complex thing to do in healthcare, because these things are very fragmented. They sit in
Yeah.
different systems, and they have all these privacy laws that you
HIPAA
have to.
laws. Yeah.
uh,
So
So
how
one,
do you, what is the best way to gather this information? Let's say cost were no option. Would it be blood work? Would it be an
yes,
MRI? Would it be,
I think that you would still have all the financial data from insurance. That's almost for free. It's very easy to collect. So you would probably have that for everyone. I think that wearable data, it's very good because you can have permanent monitoring. Uh, Biomarkers are really good. They're expensive, but they're really good at at predicting what will happen to you in the medium term. So I think those three would probably be the main ones. I think that if you could go for a fourth or a fifth, it would be the electronic health records that doctors keep. At this point, we don't have access to that. It's very difficult to have access. It's very fragmented in a lot of pieces, so we don't really have access to that. I think that would actually help us as well, but we don't navigate that.
And then your data, like you said, is fragmented across so many places. Mine, especially because I've moved so much, there's no way I'd even remember where to get it and there's no central database for it. So it's like, forget it. I would love to see somehow, they, if you subscribe to it, right, these things would automatically be sent to a centralized location. And, again, subscribe, not forced. I understand how sensitive people are with medical data. And then if you opt in, then you're running all sorts of AI statistical analysis on it and predictors and all that. I've seen it work really, really well, especially after uploading your blood results, your blood test results. But ideally, and there's these new, I can't remember what the name of this company is, but they have an MRI machine and they want you to do this every 2 years. It'll scan the entire body, your brain and all that, and just give you everything. It'll collect everything that it can outside of blood. And then every 2 years, you get to see what's changed. And a lot of what they're using is AI to kind of power these things. I don't know how, but
there are a couple of companies that are doing that. Tempus may be the one that you're referring to in the US. There are several others around the world doing that. Maybe 13 or 14 companies that are doing that. It's very useful. I think that other things that are simpler are glucose monitors, for example. It's very simple technology. It's cheap. Many people use that all the time, and you can upload that to the web, to the cloud immediately. All the data on your heart, particularly that you get on your wearables, is also very easy to collect and things like that, and they're very frequent. So things of that
sort. So what happens? I love it. So let's start from the beginning in terms of working with what you guys do. So let's say that I have collected all this information, as I have, and then I would upload it to your solution, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't really work like that. So the way we do it is we actually go after those sources. We basically work with employers that normally pay for insurance for their employees, so they are interested in managing that cost and keeping their employees healthy at the same time. They don't have access to their employees' data, and normally employees will not give their employers directly data. But we are obligated by law, so it's not even. I mean,
you're not going to give them that information.
We cannot give them that information even if we wanted. But of course we don't.
They can't even ask for it. That would be a violation in itself, I think. But go ahead.
I'm not sure if they can ask for it, but definitely we cannot do it. We cannot give it to them.
Right.
So we collect it from central repositories mostly. So we collect data from the financial transactions in the system that comes from their insurance. We collect their remote.
But why would financial information help the analysis of long-term disease prediction?
Because you understand, the granularity you get with financial information is when you went to a certain doctor, what type of a procedure you had, things of that sort. So I know if you had 3 or 4 MRIs that you're looking for something, and then I know if you visited your doctor and then you started filing prescriptions for statins, and all of a sudden you stop 3 months later, which is roughly the case. You're probably doing something wrong, so I can call you up and send you there. I know that if you haven't gone to a doctor, because I don't have any expense for your doctor for, say, a year, you probably should go to one, or things of that sort. Again, it's not great data, but it's very, very easy to collect. So there's a lot that you can infer from that.
Can you get the actual medical prognoses, and can you get that? Why? That seems dumb to me. Even with my permission?
In theory, with your permission, I could. There is no central repository that I could go for that. So we would.
No, I know that. Yeah.
So yes, in theory, it can be done. I think that we are going in that direction. I think many countries, in the US in particular, are pushing for standard methods of filling those records so that we can keep them in a central place. But no country so far has actually gotten them into one single place where you can download it. If you are connected to some systems in some countries, you could potentially, and you use only their doctors, then you could potentially download that, and then we would be able to have access. But in general, it's a very fragmented thing yet.
Yeah, but so let's say I did get that information, I could send it to you guys, and then you could
Yes.
use that for prediction purposes or evaluation or whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that right now.
Yeah.
What do you do with the data that you collect?
So we basically have around 50 different models. Some of them are very old models. So you run things based on clinical data that we can run on a clinic, but we can do that remotely and automatically for hundreds of thousands of patients at a time. We normally have something like 95 million clinical inferences a month. So we wouldn't be able to do that even with the whole population of doctors in Brazil, which is where we operate. So we can definitely do those things that doctors do. We also use LLMs. We also use architectures like a mixture of experts. So we ask two or three models and we triangulate from there. And we use humans as well. So the way we use AI in most cases today is we will raise a flag that is kind of a suspect that the patient should do something, but we put a nurse to actually check it on the phone or something like that, and then we would send the patient to a doctor. Our normal statistic is we send patients when once we get a population, we would send patients to the doctor on average something like 15% more, but we would send them earlier. So each procedure will cost something like 50% less. When you
Mm.
compose the two, you get something like 20% reduction in total cost.
Okay. So why don't insurance companies, are you aligning with insurance companies to kind of
Yeah,
get this
yeah.
on board and offer a discount on premiums if you do it?
Well, it depends on the country. In some countries like Brazil, you can actually do that. That's exactly what we do. So we basically recommend the companies to buy uh, several different tools, including in particular their health plan. We navigate the plan, and if we manage to get a discount for them in their projection of costs, we actually claim a portion of that. So we are completely aligned with the company that is hiring our services there. And yes, we work together with the insurance company, which also likes them for us to actually lower costs because that actually makes their margins more predictable as well.
Okay. All right. So you get this information, you run your analysis on it, and then you're able to tell people what exactly. Is it a range of things, or is it more mainly focused on disease?
It really depends on what we're doing. So if we run some blood tests, for example, we are able to tell people that they have a higher probability of getting whatever breast cancer or something like that.
Ah,
If we run a face scan, we can tell people things about mostly their metabolism. So we would be able to tell them that they have a high probability of high blood sugar, high blood
wow.
pressure, cholesterol, things like that. It's nothing that we do is it's perfect. We're not we are not a diagnosis company. We cannot certify that you have a high blood pressure
Yeah,
or
of
something like
course
that.
not.
But
Yeah.
we can suspect that, and we can send you to a doctor that would
Yeah.
that would do it. If we are right, and most of the times, then you would save money, and then you will be in better
Right.
condition.
Okay. And then in terms of the predictability of these things and what you think they might have, um, why would people want to know that ahead of time? Because of just the cost reduction, or maybe they could change their lifestyle or change
Uh,
what they're doing?
well, All of the above. So definitely they will spend less, and that will be beneficial to everyone. So if you're part of a health plan in a company, the less everyone spends, the better plan you will be able to have for everyone. So
Yeah.
that's one thing. The other thing is you will get treated sooner, so it will be easier for to treat you. Remember, all chronic diseases are progressive. So the more you delay the treatment, the more costly it will be, and the
Yeah.
more difficult it's going to be to get back to and then you will not develop further diseases that are associated with that. So if you don't treat your diabetes for a long time, then you will have
Yeah.
retinopathies
Troubles.
or
Yeah.
other sort of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone wins if we can do it right.
Well, so where do you, let's say I gave you a magic wand and you were able to wave it. What is this going to progress into in 5 years?
I think blood work is going to get cheaper. I think that assays that can check for 100 and something biomarkers at this point cost something like $300 per patient. They used to cost 1,000 3 years ago. I think these are going to go down to the 20s, 50s, and that's kind of the magic point where you can actually use this on large populations, and that's going to be tremendously useful. I think that wearables are also going in the right direction. I think depending on the countries, I know the numbers in Brazil, numbers in the US are probably higher, but in Brazil, something like 15% of the total population actually has a wearable today. But if you go to the people that actually pay for private plans, that's about 50% of the population that actually runs wearables. And this has gone up tremendously since the beginning of the century. So I think that will go up as well, and it's becoming to very 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 cheap to actually use rings or watches or bands or whatever brand you prefer. These are getting below $100, and that's also very useful.
Yeah,
So I
I'd like
think
to
that
see some of that technology advance in the next 5 years, like a watch that could somehow read what's in your blood, or
I I think you're
toilets
going to
that.
see you're probably going to see glucose there. I'm not sure
Right.
how other biomarkers you will still have to measure by blood. But I think some of them, like glucose, you're gonna see probably soon. There are a few in development.
Okay. All right. Well, is there any questions I didn't ask that I should have asked?
No, I think you have a good grasp of the whole thing, and I hope I was clear enough.
Yeah, no, no, you're very clear. We talked about how AI is going to impact all of this and is going to, in the future, impact all of this. But tell us a little bit about your book, and then we'll wrap up.
So I think basically the book is about everything that we've been talking about. It's a little bit more descriptive of why we got here, why our system has been failing us, and how what we can do with all these tools and data and remote monitoring to actually get it back together. So I hope if you read it, you like it.
All right. And what's the name of the book and where do they order it?
It's called Inedible, and you can order it on Amazon or any other places where they sell books.
Okay. And we'll have a link in the show notes. So if you want to get the book, look in the show notes. And with that, Mariano, I really appreciate your time on the podcast. And I learned something today, which I always love doing on these podcasts. And so with that, I will sign off and hope everyone else learned a lot about this as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much.